Dribble it out by my front door. And I'm miles and miles from the nearest store. Pot full of crabs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk About with Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun, the podcast where we will talk about everything. We will talk about anything. Quite frankly, we will talk about it all. We are doing this, contrary to what I said last week, we're doing this remote yet again. But before we say hi to everybody here, real quick, Rockfish just sent me that song. That's an acoustic version of somewhere. He did it with a guitarist down in Florida. So I just thought I'd put that. I will put a link. There's a YouTube video that goes with it. So hopefully everybody will listen to it. I did ask Rockfish when I saw it that there is a bottle of booze next to him, and there it is a bottle of rum. So when you do see it, which brings us to our sponsor, Scotty's Vodka. As Lucky is holding it up on the camera right now. Scotty's Vodka, since day one, has been with us. So, Lucky?
Did you know it took 10 years to perfect this smooth vodka? Maryland made Maryland Smooth. 10 years.
I did not know that.
He was experimenting with it for 10 years. It says it on the back of the bottle here.
Oh, I'm surprised we didn't know that by now. But yeah. Drink more Scotties, and I know Mr. Fun was at the beach all weekend with friends. Maybe not Scotties, but drinking a lot. I can tell you that.
I did drink some Scotties when I was down there. We went to the crab cake factory, and I had a Scotties and club with a lime. I actually asked him to put in 2 limes.
Oh, good.
Make me feel special.
Back to Rockfish real quick. I'm going to plug for some of his shows. They are doing some shows in Virginia. Thursday, June 19th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the 606 Club in Whitestone, Virginia, for anybody down there in the Northern Neck area. I believe that's where that is. Saturday, June 21st, 10 to 2 p.m., so midday, the Slips Marina in Kinsale, Virginia. Then he even put on his schedule that he's doing a private beach party somewhere. I don't know why he put that, because maybe we're invited at that point, being on the podcast. But that's on June 29th, 3 to 6. And then finally, Saturday, July 19th, 6 to 9 p.m. at Yankee Point Marina in Lancaster, Virginia. So Rockfish is living the Chesapeake time, I believe.
The 4 tour dates.
With the 4 tour dates there. I'll put those also in the podcast notes. So, Mr. Fun, do we have a joke of the week to start us off?
Yeah, it's actually a story. So Biff was telling me the other day, Lucky, how Biff is trying so hard he moved to Delaware and he's trying to meet people. And Biff, I really admire you for your ability to meet strangers. Anyway, he's walking the dog and one of the neighbors pokes his head out and he said, "Hey, young man, I understand you just moved to the neighborhood. I'd really like you to come to my party tonight." And Biff's like, "Oh, see, this is why I moved to Delaware. Such friendly people. Just reach out, introduce me to the party." He said, What do I have in store for me? And he said, "Well, it's going to be a hell of a lot of drinking." And Biff was like, "I'm a drinker." He goes, "There might be a little smoking." He goes, "All right, a little smoking." He goes, "We could dance." And he goes, "Yeah, I consider myself a good dancer." And he goes, "We might even get into, some fighting and some wrestling." And he goes, "Oh, we're in Delaware, whatever floats your boat." And then he says, "And at the end of the night, there's going to be a lot of fucking." And Biff goes, "All right, I'll be there. What time do you need me there?" And he goes, "Whatever time you want. It'll just be the 2 of us."
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Is that a true story?
That's a true story.
That's a true story.
True story.
Okay.
All right. Easy now. So, where in the world is JK? JK this week, our Western correspondent, real quick, is in Salt Lake City, Omaha, Nebraska, and Henderson, Nevada. JK, again, doing the rounds in the Western U.S. Tonight's episode, whatever we want to call it, it's Sunday night. We have a special guest, somebody I met over the weekend. I was playing in a golf tournament in Edgewater, Maryland, my old club I used to belong to, but I met this gentleman, Joey Como. I'll give you a little background on Joey. Right out of the gate, I'll tell you, he's one of the more interesting people I've ever met in my life, as you will come to find
Mr.
out.
Fun, you're number 2 on the list now, it sounds like.
Yeah, after the Dos Equis guy. Isn't there
I have met the Dos Equis guy, by the way, the most interesting man in the world. I have met him before.
Biff he's a big name dropper. He's got a lot of name dropping. So
right, and he's like a secret agent. There's no photographic evidence of anybody he actually met, but he tells us he's met a lot of famous people.
Now you say that, I have the photo of me and the most interesting man. I will dig that out and I will post it. But anyways, Joey Como is on that list, and yes, he's higher than Mr. Fun at this point. I will gladly put him there. But Joey lives in the greater Annapolis area, as I come to find out. But the thing that is like the first thing you find out about Joey is that he is actually related to the man with a velvet voice, cousin of Perry Como, who, I maybe not everybody that listens to us knows who Perry Como is, but just Google him. Very, very popular. Had his own TV show. But he's originally from Western PA, but Joey's from the Baltimore area. But they are cousins, and Perry is quite the popular singer, I guess.
Joey, how do you have the velvet? What kind of material is your voice?
Only shower material, Mr. Lucky.
Yeah, that's right. So
I sound great in shower.
So the thing that caught my ear when I played a little golf with Joey in the morning on Friday, I guess it was, but then we were at dinner on Friday night, and I heard a passing comment about him being on All My Children soap opera. Joey, is it still on TV?
No, not anymore.
Yeah, but it was a popular one. It was Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, All My Children. So it was one of those soap operas.
Right.
And I came to hear that. I go, well, that's an interesting thing to hear. So give us a quick background on how you got yourself to All My Children.
Sure, Biff. And thanks everyone. Love to share my story. Real quick, I was working in the IT business for a long time, and in the late 90s, the internet boom happened, right? And everything bust, and then it all went bust. So here I am, get laid off from this internet company, and thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Just so happens I was in the legal side of IT, and I was put on retainer for a bunch of months to sit around and do nothing, waiting for these law firms to go through their cases. So a neighbor came up one day, and we were chatting. I was telling how I felt down on my luck. He says, "Hey, I'm going to acting school. You want to go with me?" So I was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to be an actor," right? So lo and behold, I went to acting school with her. Thought about it, got out of acting school, and started to figure out how to become an actor. And that's when I dove in head first and started looking for commercials in the Baltimore area, the Washington area. You'd be surprised how much work in Baltimore and Washington there are for actors. So it's a pretty big business in the area.
So you get yourself, as you said, you were in the IT business, you went into acting school, and then somehow you made the leap to New York. How did that come about?
Sure. So you got to remember, and growing up, we were a poor Italian family. Father was a bricklayer, and he always told me, if you got time enough to complain about it, you got time enough to do something about it. So stop your complaining. So I kind of took that to heart my whole life. So when I get in, I'm into acting, and I'm starting to do commercials and starting to get little parts here and there on local TV stuff. And then, West Wing was shot in DC, got some work on West Wing. And then, people were like, "Oh, why are you doing that? You'll never be anything." So right there with me, it was like, you know what? Why can't I be that guy on TV? Why can't I be on that show? So I just happened to be doing a commercial with a lady, and she said, "Joe, you should be on a soap opera. You look like you could be on a soap opera."
What is it about a soap opera? What do the men in soap operas look like?
Like me.
Yeah.
Come on, look, you got to remember, back then I was really good looking. This is just,
Yeah.
So here she goes. She said, so back in the old days, right? There used to be a book. It was a long, thin book that actors used to buy. And I believe it was called the Ross Report. In that book had every single show on TV and every single casting director and where it's shot and phone numbers of all these places. So she says this to me. I'm like, huh. So back then I put like $100 together, bought this book that was about that thick and long and narrow, get the book, and got mailed to me. So I'm go to the soap operas. I go right down. First one was All My Children. Right?
Alphabetically.
Right? So here I am. I'm like, okay. I tried to call once. No one answered the phone. I'm like, I don't know. I've never really spent a whole lot of time in New York to understand the whole world of acting up there. So I made this decision that I'm going to get my old beat up Ford truck. I'm going to drive to New York, walk up to that building, and see what I can do. So I drive to New York, don't know where I'm going, driving in, go through this tunnel, I think it was the Midtown Tunnel, find the parking garage, park. And you got to remember, this is really before cell phones were real popular, before everyone had the internet. So here I am. I'm in New York. I'm looking around, find the address, talk to a cabbie, I park my truck in some garage somewhere, get in a cab, go to this address in this book. It was 66 West New York, right? It was on the west side, 66th Street, if I remember correctly. And I go over there, and the cabbie lets me out. I was kind of dressed, a little professional, looking like I knew what I was doing. So I looked around, and saw a line of people lying down the street, thinking, what? And I was talking to a couple of them. They said they were in line to see the view and to be the audience. I was like, huh. So I decided just to walk right in the front door. I walked up to the security guard, and he said, "Who are you here to see?" I said, "Bob." I can't remember his last name, but he was the casting director for All My Children. He says, "Oh, welcome." He said, "Well, just sign in right here and go downstairs. Is he waiting for you?" I said, "Of course." And then go into the elevator. I go down one floor, and the doors open up, and there are cubicles and people scurrying around, and I'm walking around just not even knowing what I'm doing, right? So this young lady says, "Sir, can I help you?" And I said, "Sure, I'm looking for Bob." He says, "Oh, the casting director?" And I said, "Yeah. His office is at the end of the hall. Walk to the end of the hall, and see his office." I said, "Okay." I'm like, what the hell? Why not? So I walked down to the end of the hall. I knocked when his door was open, knocked on his door, and he sticks his head out from his computer. He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Are you Bob?" And he kind of like looked at me like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, I'm Joe." He says, "Do I know you? Do I have an appointment?" I said, "No." So what do you want? And I said, "I want to be on All My Children." And he looked at me, He's like, come in and sit down." So I sit down. I had my headshot, right? I give him my headshot. I give him all my information. And he just looked at me like, "I can't believe." He's like, "How'd you get here? How'd you get down here?" As I told him I was here to see you. And he said, "And they let you down?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, this is before 9/11 and all that. So we're talking, and he spent about a half hour just talking to me, just picking my brain and talking about what I've done. And he says, "Give me your stuff. If we have an opportunity, I'll call you." So I said, "Hey, thank you for your time." Left, got my little beat up Ford truck, drove back to Maryland. Next day, he calls me on the phone, and he says, "I've been thinking about you, and I just can't believe that you did what you did, but you want to come up, be on the show?" I was like a Wednesday on a Friday. I said, "Sure." So I drove up there. He gave me all the information, drove up, and that was on his show. And I was his go-to guy many times when people were just not showing up. So, and fast forward, I ended up getting an IT job in New York City. So I was up there more, so I could be available for him. And I did that for about 3 years off and on. And
that was your only acting gig at that time?
Yeah, I was doing commercials still. I was doing other things, and you got to remember, they don't want you on in soap operas full more than someone starts to recognize you, because then people start to think, "Oh, who's that guy? Where is he? He was on before." So Bob would be very cautious about how many times he would put me on. One time I was an art critic. One time I was a cop. One time I was a lawyer. One time, I was never a butt double, but I could have been. So,
No love scenes?
But what's that?
No love scenes?
No. But I met Susan Lucci. We sat down, had a wonderful conversation with her. Her husband's from Austria. I was just skiing in Austria, so we were talking about skiing in Austria. And I should have asked her to give me an opportunity right there. But we got talking and things got a little busy, and I didn't get a chance to talk to her again. But it was a lovely lady. I mean,
did you live out any details about being on the casting couch with Bob, or were you across the desk from him?
We were across the
I
desk.
wonder why he took such a liking to you.
I don't know. I told you I was better looking back in. I don't know.
All right. Speaking of casting couches, is that true? Is that true in the business? Like, what? How would you explain that to us?
Well, I've met a lot of people in the business, right? And unfortunately, there are people who take advantage of women or whoever who are trying to get in the business, and it's a shame. And I really just hated to hear those stories, but it's a tough business. Like I said, if you could camp out for 5 years and live on peanuts, right? That's what equivalent would be in trying to make it as an actor. Back when I'm a member of AFTRA then. You had to be on the soap opera. And then now they merged with SAG. But the average salary across all actors is like, back then was less than $50,000 a year. And I'm talking about including all the other big famous actors, right? So you think about trying to live on that little piddly salary. It's tough. And that's why many of them had bartender jobs. They were waitresses. They do whatever they had to do to try to be there. And the unfortunate thing about it, you get a phone call, you may have an important meeting, maybe at work, but they want you there. Oh, you can't make it? Well, I'll call the next guy on my list. So really, it is a dog-eat-dog business, if you would say, man.
So I will say this, Joe, you have a bit of a Baltimore accent. Can you neutralize your accent so to be more, national, if you will?
Yeah, sure. When I met a wonderful woman working in legal, and she told me, son, you're going to be good, but we're going to do two things. We're going to get rid of your accent, and we're going to get you a new set of clothes. You're not in Dundalk anymore.
It's Joey. I used to have it still comes out, but the Baltimore twang. That's what they refer to it as. It sounds like you had it too.
Yeah, I do, and when I'm relaxed and talking like that, it really starts to come out. When I'm in a real work environment, I kind of just sharpen it up and just try and.
I used to live on peanuts, and I got as big as an elephant.
Hey, I got a good joke. I got a good joke, for acting joke.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so there's this guy, and he goes to this casting director, and he gives him his stuff. And the guy looks at his stuff, and his name is Penis Van Lesbian. And the casting director says, he says, you got to change your name. And he says, I can't change. My penis is my great-great-grandfather's name, my uncle's name, my father's name. It's been passed down for generations. I can't change my name, Penis. And so on he's trying to get jobs, could never get jobs. So he was the only casting director to tell him to change his name. So 40 years go by. He writes the guy a letter. He says, dear casting director, here's $100. I changed my name. Sincerely, Dick Van Dyke.
Very good. Very good. So you as you just described, you talked your way into All My Children, and in another story that I heard the other night was, and Lucky is one of the bigger Orioles fans in the area. You mentioned how you watched an Orioles game from the dugout,
right?
And how does one go about doing that as John Q. Public?
So it was, and again in life, sometimes you just ask and you try to figure things out. And one day I get a call from a good buddy of mine. He says, Joey, he says, grab your camera. We're going to be press at the Oriole Park. This is the year they went on. When they were on strike. It was the year they went on strike, but I can't remember what year.
Like 95 or so.
95. Okay.
Yeah.
Around 95. He said, just show up, grab your cameras, show up the park. So I show up there. We go into the, meet my buddy, go into where the press go in. We say our names. He said, here's a press pass for you, and here's a press pass for you. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we just laughed. We put the press passes on. We went up to the press box and hung out at the press box, eating the food. Before the game, we were hanging out on the field. The funny thing is, we're standing on the field. We saw some buddies we knew, and they're screaming for us, and they're hollering. We're like,
oh, from the stands?
Yeah, from the stands. So, if you remember Ernie Tyler used to sit on I remember his name, Chris. Ernie Tyler used to sit on a little stool, like in between the dugout and the plate. And he did that forever, right, Lucky? I mean, good grief.
Yeah.
So anyway, with the press pass in between inning, I decided to walk down with my camera and walk into the dugout and sit in the dugout. So I'm sitting in the dugout for 3-4 innings, taking pictures, listening to the managers, listening to the players, and Cal was there, and so I'm sitting there and I'm laughing because I can't believe no one's asked me for my credentials. I just walked on the field with my press pass, walked in, sitting in the dugout in the camera well. So anyway, I go back upstairs because I had to use the restroom and grab a bite to eat. So I come back down, and it was still the inning. The guy was still pitching, so I was standing up behind the plate, where the press would walk out onto the field. So I'm just standing up there, and finally I see this. The pitcher kept going like this. I'm like, I wonder what he's doing, right? He was waving at me to sit down. So Ernie Tyler comes over. I said, what's wrong, Ernie? He said, who are you? I said, what do you mean? I'm with the press. He said, you see your pass. He said, you're not supposed to be down here. Get up in the press box. So he wouldn't let me back in the dugout after that. So here we are. We're up in the press box, right? We go in to meet Rex Barney and my buddy, and we meet John Miller. My buddy decides to tell John Miller we're the London Press. I looked at him and said, why are we the London Press? He said, I don't know. It's just what came to mind. I said, we have no London accent. We have not from London. So John Miller tells us, he said, you're from London? I'm from Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we laughed with him so hard, but it was a great experience. Sometimes you got to go with whatever, the opportunity. And
Joey, did you know your uncle?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
My cousin. Yep. I mean, when he came into Baltimore, the world stopped. My parents, where my dad lived, in Rapola Street. In Rapola Street in the city, my grandfather, that's where he would roll into, and his family. When I got older, he would come into town, and we were living in Dundalk. The world would stop, and we would go see him in concert. I sat in the front row many times at Merriweather, and I remember it was like in the 70s. Jay Leno opened for Perry Como.
At Merriweather.
At Merriweather.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Perry didn't share any money with the family?
Well, exactly what I said. But the funny, so you think about an Italian. My father was Italian, bricklayer, right? Pretty big man. Didn't take too much crap from anyone. So he grabs my arm. He says, "Come on, you're coming with me." I said, "Where are we going?" He says, "We're going backstage." So we go walking around. My father unhooks the ropes, right? And the security guy comes up to stop my father. He says, "Sir, you can't come back here." He says, "It's okay. Perry's my cousin." And he looked at my father, and he's like, "Okay, sir, just go right by." So we walked right back in. We were hanging with Perry. All the rest of the family came in with them. And we sat around. He had every type of Italian food. When we went to his dressing room, the kids, when we were kids, I don't know what grade I was in. We hit the cookie bar that he had in his dressing room. So of all the sweets, and so that was great. I feel blessed. The kid with can't rub two pennies together to have that experience.
In all of your years in this acting biz, give us some of your name drops, like your best interesting people you met. Give us like your top couple.
I'll give you a funny story. Okay, so here I am. I want to make it, man, because I just want to show everybody I can do this. So I get a call from Sex and the City, right? The casting over there. Hey, can you come out? Blah, blah, blah. I said, sure. So I want to be a paparazzi, right? So we're out there shooting a scene in New York City. The sky's open. It's pouring down rain. So the three main actresses in Sex and the City.
Sarah Jessica Parker and
right?
Kristen Davis, and I don't remember the other one.
Cynthia Nixon.
Yeah.
Well, the one that played the real bitchy one.
God, the blonde.
Yeah,
the blonde. I forgot her name.
Yeah, I forgot her name too. Anyway, so it's pouring down rain. So they're standing under this canopy. So this is right when she broke up with her boyfriend. Right, this longtime boyfriend was all over TV. Blah 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 blah. So
Kim Cantrell.
Yes. So I decide. I was talking to my buddy. I said, "Look, she just broke up with her boyfriend. I want to go ask her if I could have a date." He's like, "No way. You can't do that." I said, "Why not?" So I walk over there. I introduced myself. She's looking at me like, "Who the hell are you?" I said, let me ask you, do I have a chance? And she looked at me. She said, "What do you mean a chance? A chance for a date?" Dude, that woman looked at me. If looks could kill, she walks away, disappeared for hours, and made us all stand around and wait for her to get over her temper tantrum.
Do you think she was thinking about it? Took her all that time to say no? Because you were so attractive.
She was. She kept looking out the window at me. I don't know what she was doing in there.
That's so funny.
But no, so yeah. And the casting director was so upset. The guy who was running the show was upset with me. So, but I did the show with Tom Cruise and DC.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. So I'm shooting the scene, and the guy who the director was
Ridley Scott.
No. Who's the director for like E.T. and all those?
Oh, Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg, right? Spielberg was there, and he's directed me, and he's saying, "I want you here, there, and do this, and do this, and do this." I'm like, "Oh, cool! I'm getting directed around by Steven Spielberg." So, so he puts me in the scene, and I'm dancing with this woman because I was a pretty good dancer. So the next day, they didn't finish the scene that day, so they're like told everyone, "Come back tomorrow so we can finish the scene." Right? I'm supposed to be at Ocean City golf trip. Leaving that morning. I'm like, my buddies are all calling me. He's like, I said, I got this. They're like, you're going to the golf trip. So I left and went to the golf trip. I saw the girl later on. They said, "Steven Spielberg, if he remembered your name, you'll never act anywhere else." He said, "You blew up the whole scene because you didn't show up."
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
He said he was fuming because they had us dancing together in this whole scene. But,
all right.
I kept trying.
Joe, you ever make any movies with a zombie apocalypse?
No, zombie apocalypse. Not
All
yet.
right. So I had a provocative question. I was going to bring it out but I'll bring it out anyway, even though you didn't have any movies like that. If there was a real zombie apocalypse, Joey, what would you take from your house?
What would I take from my house?
Yeah. Would you take your Perry Como signed autograph picture from your wall and run away and hide from the zombies?
Your giant headshot that's behind you.
A giant headshot. I'd probably grab my guitar.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you said you didn't sing.
Well, I
Maybe
don't
in a future episode we'll have you play guitar. That would be something. So.
That's a good question. What would I take?
I would take a case of Scotty's vodka. Scotty's handmade.
Scotty's
handmade
and hands on some Scotty.
Biff would grab all of his belts. Does
Joey, no.
his,
Joey, no. Let me tell you about the man you played golf with, okay? You may not know this,
All right.
but some days he gets up. He gets up and he looks in his closet. And there in his closet is a white pair of pants. And he says, let me see if I can rock some people's worlds today and wear this white pair of pants out. And that's what he does.
I am very confident to wear white pants, but as we have established, I will not wear white jeans. No, there's no white jeans.
Does this guy look familiar to you?
Elvis, yeah.
Elvis,
That's me.
that's you. You were an Elvis impersonator?
I used to do it for fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to ride around Baltimore. I used to they have these things in Baltimore going on, so I dress up like Elvis and get on a scooter and drive around Canton and Fells Point, dressed up like just for my friends. We would have fun with it. So
who's the better golfer, you or Biff?
He's a great golfer.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
He's overrated. I know he's underrated for as good as he plays. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not. That's you're being far too complimentary of me because I definitely had my desperate moments over the last few days. But we did end up playing pretty well. So Lucky, what would you get from the zombie apocalypse? I'm just curious.
What would I take from the zombie apocalypse if I had to run away? I got a bunch of baseball cards. I might take my box of baseball cards with me.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Fun.
between that, my wedding pictures. I don't know. I'd have to like figure out which ones to take.
Okay.
So it's like being naked and afraid, right? What would you take with you?
Yeah. What would you take, Mr. Fun?
I told you I would take a case of Scotty's vodka.
Okay.
I might take my Ozempic medicine so I could slim down so I could outrun those bastards.
Hey, did you hear this story about Ozempic this week? That women who are taking it and it's making their birth control pills not work and they're getting pregnant by accident.
That's just their excuse for not losing weight.
Yeah.
No, but more importantly, it makes your penis bigger. It's scientifically proven.
So what is you got a 14-inch cock?
Well,
now?
I was hesitating increasing the dose, but now I'm gonna ratchet that bad boy up.
Be careful. You don't want to.
It makes it
skinny with a huge cock. I'd be dangerous.
You'd be lucky.
I'd be you.
But it only makes it bigger because the area around it is smaller, right?
You would think that, but I think it shifts the fat molecules around. It's very scientific, Biff. I can explain it to you, but I don't have the time on a short podcast.
And it's almost like you were on the other the news of the week, which I know Lucky was anxious to share, was the 200-year-old condom.
300-year-old condom.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you're right. 200.
Okay,
sorry.
All right.
Sorry, but yeah, they found this artifact. It was from apparently from a high-end brothel in France, but it's sold at an auction for like an extraordinary amount of money, and it's on display in the Sex Museum in Amsterdam. If anyone's ever been there, Biff, I know you're.
I've been there.
Yeah, Mr. But the funny thing about this artifact, it's two things. It's made from sheep's appendix, so that's the material it's made of. But the most interesting thing about it is it has a drawing on it of a nun. She's seated with her dress lifted and legs apart, pointing at three clergymen who have three big boners. And she's pointing at him, like trying to pick out which guy she's going to take. And it's basically the maker of this condom was like making fun of the clergy at the time, and it's super popular. So many people are going to the Sex Museum just to see this condom.
It's one of my big porn taboos. I won't watch nuns do porn. Like I just think you're going to get hit by a lightning bolt if you watch that category. It's like a whole category.
I've never seen that category.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. And my wife tells me one day, she's like, sex is so much better while on holiday. And it was weird that she called me all the way from Europe to tell me that.
But in all seriousness, weren't condoms in the old days made by? Weren't they pre latex or whatever? Weren't they made out of sheepskin? Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they were. So I guess I was reading this article. There weren't a lot of them because number one, the church frowned upon it,
Right.
And number two, they were hard as hell to make. And so when the latex versions of them came out, that's when they started getting mass produced, and everyone's put them in their wallet, and they stayed there forever.
Mr. Fun, isn't this is like that is Lucky's dream to
What's
research a story about condoms and sex.
Yes.
It must be like it's it's a theme, Joey. You've got to understand this. So,
Sounds
well, you
like
see, has started talking about AI robots, or what's that show that with Megan Fox that we were talking about?
It was called Subservience.
Subservience, about an AI robot that becomes subservient.
And it's Megan Fox, and she's hot as shit. And we saw I talked about the news article a couple weeks ago, these real robots that people are starting to buy.
I asked my wife, I said, honey, how do I turn off Alexa? She said, get naked and stand in the middle of the room. You turn everybody off that way.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you know when AI was started?
Probably in the 60s.
So it was started they coined the phrase in 1956. So I give lectures and talks about AI and the impact it's happening with industries like healthcare and different industries. But the impact of AI on just healthcare alone is tremendous. It's billions and billions of dollars are being invested in AI to help improve, not necessarily being able to diagnose, which you're not allowed to have that happen, but AI is something that will improve the workflows of the administrative sides of healthcare, right?
Yeah.
The billing part, the making sure people are compliant, all those things that the one real interesting area is radiology. So I don't know if you know this, but FDA is the holder of all the algorithms for AI. So FDA approves an algorithm for AI for healthcare.
Okay.
Over 1,000 algorithms has been approved. The number one specialty is radiology. AI can read an image better than radiologists and better than so it's like a 5-to-1 factor. It could work 5 times faster than a
So what changed? So AI, to your point, and when I got out of college in the late '80s, I was recruiting engineers, and AI was a thing they were doing. This was C++ coders. The Defense Department in particular was doing AI. So what changed over the last 5 years specifically? Is it just the brain power of the chips? It's the chips. Is that really the only change? Is the chips?
Well, not the chips have changed, but what's really impacted is ChatGPT. It's open AI. That's been developed. So it's become generative. So AI has been around for a long time. It's been called machine language. It's been called machine learning. It's been called a lot of different things. But ChatGPT catapulted AI from something that we all heard about and it brought it to the consumer level, right? So now you have high schools, colleges trying to figure out how to make kids think on their own and not pump everything through AI.
Yeah, my goal, Joey, is to control all the X-rated algorithms associated with AI. If I could get there, the dating apps, the algorithms that decide how hot you are. I uploaded a picture of myself into ChatGPT last week, and it gave me an assessment of how hot I was.
Hey, you know what you could do, Lucky, is you can say tell ChatGPT create an image of me looking 40 years younger, and it will generate an image of you.
Okay.
Well, we're going to do it too at some point here. We're going to convert all of our voices into babies or whatever that new video technique is. So you'll see the three of us at some point as infants talking to each other. So
yeah, it's quite fascinating if you ask me. I'm glad I'm closer to retirement than I am coming up into this industry, but
yeah. So, well, Joey, we can't thank you enough for joining us on the show, sharing stories, and I know there are more to share. So we will have you back for sure. I'm glad you stuck around for the entire show. But what you now unfortunately have to do is listen to Mr. Fun tell the risque joke.
Yeah,
which is it's interesting. So, and again, what do you say, Lucky, if it's just an okay joke? Good one.
Good one.
Good one. Okay, so let's see that. We'll see if we get some real life laughter.
I got two. You know, how do porn stars get paid? Income.
Oh, good one. That is a good one. That is a good one.
Okay.
All right, look, there's this couple in bed. They're newly in love, and they're about to be intimate. And the chick starts to get a little nervous, and she says, I've really been meaning to talk to you about something. I hope this doesn't mess up our relationship. But I used to be a Christian. And the guy takes a deep breath, and he's like, that's cool. Is that what it really is? I'm fine with that. And she goes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now. And she goes, and by the way, I enjoy being Christine so much more. Oh,
Very good. So
I sort of feel like we're on our honeymoon. By the way, I forgot to tell you that earlier today or earlier at the beginning of the podcast.
Why is that?
We're in a different position. Mr. Fun and I are for the first time together remotely in the same room.
Yes.
And you two are separate, and
Yes.
we have a different configuration.
Wait, but I thought he was going to say, he's making me stand. He's got this raised desk. My legs are quivering right now, trying to hold my body weight up for 45 minutes. This is crazy.
It's like a workout and the
This is
podcast
crazy.
at the same time.
It's crazy.
Oh, good. Hey, Lucky, how do they get a hold of us if they want to give us any feedback?
Talk about 2023 at gmail.com. They can always email us. We get a ton of emails every week. Hopefully we'll get some emails and some questions for Joey maybe for the next time we have him. And,
Absolutely.
Hey, before we close, I want to plug, you guys remember my New Year's resolution was to see more live music. So
it was to lose 7 pounds.
It did. And I did that. I got down on my thing. I 100% did.
It's debatable.
Yep. But live music, and I had a double dosage. I saw my brothers playing a band twice this weekend, Friday and Saturday night in Annapolis. He played at Mother's in Severna Park. Rob G came out, killed it, and then my brother's a bass player, and then he played at the Cape St. Clair Strawberry Festival. His band is called Riverwood Rock. They play all original stuff. And to see my little brother play for the first time was pretty amazing. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I forgot to mention last weekend, it was funny enough, I was on the driving range 5:45 on a Sunday night. I get a call. Do I want to see Pat Benatar at the Freeman Stage in Bayside in Selbyville, Delaware? And I got free tickets to saw Pat Benatar on that night. She was awesome. She's 72 or 73 years old. Voice is really good. Husband Neil Girardo's the guitar player, very, very good. That was my first concert I ever saw. I was guessing what year it was, and I saw her at Merriweather Post Pavilion.
That's got to be 1980.
It was right 1980, 81 time frame. Yeah, that's when I saw
her. There, actually.
Yeah, so she was quite good. So good, Mr. Fun. Any parting words?
I have not seen any live music recently. I just wanted to throw that out there. First of all, I want you to tell listeners they could be viewers if we're going to post this on YouTube. Is that true?
That is true. I will. I as I am technically illiterate in most things, I am going to try to set up a YouTube account. We will put this on YouTube. So you.
That's so good. And here's what I would like to request, because I thought of this, wanted to mention it to you guys, but I'll just mention it to our listeners / viewers. Send us questions. Wouldn't it be fun if Biff asked Lucky or Lucky asked Biff and Mr. Fun questions for the first time about ourselves on our podcast? So please send us questions.
Perfect. So good.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Again, Joey, thank you for joining us. We will do it again soon, I hope. And until we do it again, let me just say goodbye.
Green river lit out by my front door. And I'm miles and miles from the nearest store. Pot full of crabs looking fat and sweet. Kettle of voices at my feet. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow or take it easy. You're good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind. Living on Chesapeake time. cigarettes and a plate of tea. Haven't had a shave in a day or three. Breeze is blowing, I take a sand. Just have a few more tales to tell. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow or take it easy, both good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind. Living on Chesapeake time. Well, somewhere in the back of my mind, know that I must start to make a plan. But if I somehow never find the time, I know that we will be just fine. Know that she will understand. Floating by my dock like Sebby and JD. By morning my heads are gonna rock. Sleeping late now I will be forgiven. When you live in the land of pleasant living. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow or take it easy. Good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind. Chesapeake time. Living on Chesapeake time.
I know other people that.
Take it slow or take it easy. Good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting